You know, I mean, they had been under Japanese rule for so long, you know, during the war and everything like that. And it looked like the United States and Russia were kind of starting to squabble over it too. So,
Tom, you know, of course, I'm like a couple of million. Here's something that this was in the Newsweek magazine. You might want to take a copy and just kind of look and browse through it. But I'm like several million other young kids back then. Hi, this is Tom Turbiville.
Hi, how are you? Nice to see you. Good to see you. What's your first name?
Gladys.
Gladys. Hi, Gladys. Good to see you.
Yes, sir. Good to see you. I've seen you so many times on TV. I feel like I know you, but I've also seen you out at the VFW.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I've been out there a few times.
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
VFW meetings and everything.
Yeah. I've
I
been
remember back when you started this program.
Yeah. It's been on KAMU. It's been 4 years on television now. Yeah. We've been doing it now.
But I'm like,
anyway.
Yeah, you know, I'm like, I didn't realize that. Look down at 12 million was the top strength in 1944.
Beat Street.
45.
12 million. Wow.
And I'm like, you know,
gracious.
all them millions of kids, well, just out of high school and probably hadn't traveled too far from home in their life.
Where'd you grow up?
Houston.
In Houston?
I was born and raised in Houston.
I see.
Graduated from San Jacinto High. And
what year was that?
45.
In 45.
Yeah.
Okay.
I decided, you know, all this, that, and the other. I was 17. I didn't turn 18 until October of 45. And I decided I better keep myself in school, graduate from high school, because if I was quitting and went in the service then, I might have a chance of not ever going back.
Yeah.
So I did.
Yeah.
And in October 1945, of course, the wars, you know, the Japs give up in August.
Right.
And thank goodness, that's another story.
Yeah.
I said, well, I'll just wait till I turn 18. And two things happened. Of course, when you turn 18, back then, the draft board comes talking to you.
Right.
And I said, well, I'd rather just volunteer, just go in there. Try the Navy first and find out I was colorblind.
Oh, my goodness.
So they said, oh, we don't want you. I said, okay. Went to the Army recruiting office. And he looked me over and gave me that little quick physical and said, boy, said, go home, get your toothbrush, be back in 30 minutes. Tell your mama goodbye. So I went.
They wanted you.
I left.
You're in your Uncle Sam wants you.
I went. I left there, and they ever heard of? They call it 10th City in Fort Sam, Houston. Anybody ever tell you about 10th City?
At Fort Sam? Well, yeah, I have, because there were so many people.
Yeah, went through there. Yeah,
they went through there.
That was the induction.
Yeah.
So from there, I went to Little Rock, Arkansas, took my basic training.
Right. Had
a little 10-day delay en route, and wound up in Fort Ord. That's finished off my training there.
Is that in California?
Yeah, Fort Ord, California. Right on the Gulf. I mean the Atlantic Ocean. And then from there I went to Camp Stoneman. And of course we went from there to Frisco, got on a troop ship, went west. Well, that's, you know, if a kid, you know, never been away from home, you go up under that Golden Gate Bridge and you say, well, I'll never see you again. So I wound up they never told us where we was going.
Right.
And about 3 days out, they finally opened the orders and told me, you boys are going to Korea. Where in the devil is Korea? So we wound up in Incheon. And Incheon didn't have a wharf, and I don't guess it does. To this day, it's got a 20-foot tide over there.
Yeah. So
we went offloaded on them landing nets and got in a landing LST and wound up in that replacement center there. And from there I went to Chuncheon. That's pretty close to 38th parallel.
Right.
From there they assigned me to the 46th Headquarters and Service Company, Gwangju, Korea.
Right. Now was this the 8th Army? or what?
We was attached to the 7th Division.
To the 7th, okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Like I said, there wasn't much to it,
Yeah.
just kind of courier missions, and of course you get up in them mountains and then we'll wore out. And all the trucks we had was all them things from Okinawa.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a job. I was a motor sergeant then.
Yeah.
And this job keeping them running, Tom.
Right.
In the winter, well, that was the worst winter I ever spent in my life. Oh, never so cold. Well, I'm sure everybody's told you that.
Right. The winter of 45, 46, right in there, and yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess you spent Christmas of 45.
Well, we was at Fort Sam, and
Yeah.
Dang man, so close to home. I sure like to go home for Christmas. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
about 3 days before Christmas, on the troop train, we went to Camp Robinson, Arkansas.
So you were heading out. Yeah. Okay. So this was the winter of 46. This was early 46 when you were in Korea.
Yeah, I spent the winter
Mm-hmm.
45, 6 here
Uh-huh.
in basic.
Right.
Got on the troop ship
Yeah.
in March of
46.
46.
Right.
And spent the 46, 47 winter.
Right.
There.
Okay. Okay.
And what we'd had to do, it was so cold over there, all them old trucks. Like I said, we had one Jeep, we kept them inside a building, and kept the heat on all night.
Uh-huh.
One Jeep started all the rest of them. So we'd, not much to it after that. Let's see, went out on a rescue mission one night, the driver and myself, and got up in the mountains. Old truck quit, and didn't know what to do because didn't have those CB radios.
What was the rescue mission?
Oh, there was another truck broke down up in the mountains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I say, those old trucks, wore out trucks.
Right.
So, I don't know how many miles it was outside of Wanju. We were probably 30 miles, 40 miles.
Right.
Over there, that's a long ways.
Sure.
So,
And your truck broke down.
so we didn't know what to do, and burned the gasoline out of the tank, and then we said, well, golly, no wood because everything frozen. So then we burned the crankcase oil. And then we said, well, I guess this is it. I was so cold, I didn't feel cold anymore.
Uh-huh.
And finally the motor officer, of course we'd been missing probably 5 or 6 hours, and then heard from us, didn't know what we were doing. So he almost didn't make it. He was in a Jeep. He ran off. Over there, Tom, this road is terrible, awful.
Mm-hmm.
No guardrails, no blacktop, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So he finally made it, came and got us and took us back to the barracks. And then we just routine duties and routine stuff.
Well, like what? What was a typical day like?
Well, of course, we have muster every morning, go to chow. Most of it was 21 ration, no milk. That's one thing I miss more than anything in the world, is fresh milk.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of things, we'd run errands, maintenance in the trucks, try to keep the trucks, like I said, I was in the motor pool.
Yeah.
Trying to keep the trucks running and repaired. And sometimes we'd requisition parts, and they would back order them, and we couldn't get parts.
Yeah.
So one day the motor officer said, Sergeant said, let's go to Seoul, capital. And that was where the main supply depot was.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what we're going to do in Seoul? We're going to get some parts.
Mm-hmm.
I said, we are? Yeah. Oh, how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to wait till these guys go to lunch, and we're going to requisition some parts.
Like Radar O'Reilly, huh?
So we got the parts we had to have. I mean, if we didn't have parts, couldn't get them running.
Right.
So we went back to camp, went back to the base, and repaired the trucks and got them back running. And then once in a while we'd back then, I'd never seen a a truck that ran on steam. These Koreans had this little, looked like a little hot water heater sitting in the back of the truck.
Right.
And how it worked, I don't know. I didn't look at that close. But that's what they'd run on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, there's a lot of things that, you know, made me appreciate being an American and being in this country, because we should be thankful for so many things, Tom.
Goodness, yes.
And we forget this.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Back when I first got to Korea, I was riding down the road and I said, "Oh, we don't have too many dogs around here. Where's all the dogs?" "Oh, we ate them." And I never heard that before. You know, I was a kid, you know.
Right.
Ate them. Ate dogs. And just, it was poor. It's hungry little kids. That's what bothered me more than anything, the little kids.
Right.
Hungry.
Right. So did you come in contact with the Korean people a lot?
Oh,
or?
yeah, we had a lot of interaction, you know, the police department. And
right.
we had some, I guess you'd call them helpers, you know, that we hired from the community. We had a good relationship with the Koreans. Oh, yeah. In fact, I halfway learned how to talk Korean.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
what was their attitude? I mean, it was
very cooperative. Oh, they liked us. We, you know, of course, we got along fine. It wasn't like this today that, like Iraq and Vietnam, but that's the first time I ever heard the word communist. Being a kid, you know, communist, what's that?
Yeah.
And some guys on the other side.
On the north side, yeah.
And every once in a while they would sneak across the parallel and hijack one of our supply trucks. Steal the trucks, beat up the driver, take the truck and our stuff.
So from that standpoint, there was some, not conflict, but there was some aggression from the other side.
From the other guy.
From the north side.
And we always had to be on the lookout, you know, because of we didn't know what they were going to do next.
Yeah.
So, and I guess the tensions kept building until June of '50.
Right, when the Korean War broke out. But you were gone then, right? You'd already.
I left in spring of '47.
Spring of '47. Okay. Yeah. And came back to the States.
Correct.
Where'd you go then?
I went to. Let me see. I went to. We I guess you call it. I was kind of on the way out. I served my time, and they told me, well, we were sending you back to the States. We discharged, separated from the service, and we went to Oakland Army Air Base. I don't know. Anyway, from there, they sent us to Marysville, California. That was the separation center. Oh, they tried to get me to re-enlist. I said, no. I don't believe I like the service. I'd rather just go on home. Of course, I didn't have any idea that the war was going to.
Right.
He said, well, we'll give you a rocker. I said, no. I said, well, how about join the reserve? I said, he said, I'll get you out tomorrow if you join the reserve. I said, if you do that, sign me up. So I was in the reserve, and that was in April of 1947. And the enlistment was out, April 47. And you know what happened in June of 50, don't you?
Yeah.
I was a 3-year enlistment, so I thought, well, here I go back to Korea.
Right.
But I called them, and they said, no, your enlistment's over. I said, you have no more obligation. I said, well, don't call me, I'll call you.
So your enlistment ended right before the Korean War broke out. Yeah. So your timing was good. So were you back in Houston then?
No.
Where'd you go?
I had a girlfriend here in Bryan. I said, well, and I wanted to go to A&M.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I'll just come on up to Bryan and go to A&M, which I went 1 semester. At that time, you know, things were kind of hard. And they didn't get the money that they do now, and didn't have the opportunity, you know, like free scholarships and all that. So I said, well, I guess I'll just drop out of A&M and just go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Which I did. Went to work at First National Bank here in Bryan, Texas.
Is that right?
And stayed there I was there 8.5 years.
Uh-huh.
And I met my current wife, Gladys.
Uh-huh.
And so we got married in 1956.
Right.
And we've been married ever since.
And you worked for the bank for 8.5 years?
Yes, sir. And then I left
then
there
what?
and went to work for the Prudential Insurance Company.
I see. Selling insurance? Or?
Yes.
I see.
And of course I guess I'd say I got a pretty good education there. They sent us to school, you know, like I had a securities dealer's license, and a property and casualty agent's license, life insurance license, and I guess everything they sold, I had a license to sell it.
Yeah.
And then I retired from the Prudential and kind of went in business for myself.
Right. What did you do?
Insurance, real estate, fiddling around, buying and selling real estate and stuff. I would like selling.
Just sort of
stuff.
Yeah. Just a salesman.
Yeah. That's my calling, I guess. I never did like working inside.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's about the story of it. And like I said, it's nothing, you know.
Well, no,
spectacular.
the regular GI story is amazing because, you know, so many people, you know, they think of the service as just during, you know, conflict or wartime but when you were in Korea, did you have a sense of what your mission was there, what your purpose was there, what occupation meant, or what it?
No,
what's
your 18-year-old kid, you know.
Was it sort of just to keep the peace, or just
yeah? And well, it was kind of a quiet time. It was a lull before the storm.
Right.
Because I guess the South Koreans didn't really have any idea what the North Koreans was up to.
Yeah.
It was just like right now.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
They always stirring up stuff, you know. And the South Koreans are real simple people. They're farmers.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Right.
Were back then, I mean.
Yeah.
And very, you know, amicable, friendly. Rice farmers.
Yeah. They're just trying to make it like everybody else.
That's correct.
Yeah. Now you were stationed most of the time not in Incheon, but the second place you said?
Wonju.
Wonju.
It was there was a little hole in the wall way up in the mountains. I guess about 50 or 60. Of course, I can't remember now.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like it was 50 or 60 miles from Seoul.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, we had to go on what's called train guard.
Mm-hmm.
And it was coal. What do you call them? Coal operated. You know.
Right.
Steam engine for coal fired.
Yeah.
And of course, no air conditioning, and keep the doors of the boxcars open, and you come back and all that coal dust, and you look like black.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those kind of things, and then the courier routes, like I'm saying, and
now courier routes, that was just delivering stuff.
Yeah, like correspondence, you know, like orders and.
How'd you travel? By Jeep or just?
Yep, Jeep.
And keeping those going and all of those. So you served as a courier.
Every once in a while I had to go out on the courier route when they didn't have anybody else.
Right.
And
how long were those trips?
6 or 7 hours.
Yeah.
Of course, again, those roads were terrible, and you know, it would take us an hour to go 50 miles here.
Yeah.
It'd take you 5 or 6 hours to go 50 miles over there.
Yeah. Because you're just
Yeah. And there was one mountain up there. They called it the Kangnung Mountain.
Kangnung.
Kangnung.
Okay.
It had 200 something curves in it.
Yeah.
And when you get to the top of it, that was another kind of to me it was a little bit hair-raising, scary, because it was coming back one time, and the wind was blowing. I guess when you get to the top of the mountain, it's blowing pretty strong. That's a 60 or 70 mile wind, and it was in the wintertime, snow on the ground, and everything. We had tire chains on the little Jeep,
right?
And the tire chain got crossed up in with a tie rod. So I had to get out of that Jeep and get that tie rod loose. And it was about from here to that wall, from a 2,000 foot drop.
Yeah.
And that wind blowing like that. And I was holding on to that Jeep, and the assistant driver, I said, "Hey, come out here and help me." "I ain't getting out there." Okay. We got it loose, and away we went. And like I said, that was about, I've never been shot at, no hole in me.
Right.
Got a bad case of bronchitis coming back. And I was in sick bay on board ship for 11 days. I was taking penicillin shots about every 3 or 4 hours.
Coming back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that kind of affected me the rest of my life, I guess. But
yeah.
Of course, I put in a claim about it, but back then they didn't keep very good records.
Yeah. Did you make some friends in your unit? I mean, we
had a lot.
You kept in touch with?
No. We just kind of. It wasn't a big unit. It was, I guess, total troop complement probably wasn't over 40.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of the boys that I went overseas with. Now there was one guy. His name was Joe Brazos. He was in the floor cover business here in Bryan. He's gone now.
Right.
2 or 3 other ones, but I was thinking, when I was thinking about you coming over here to visit, I guess you probably talked to Clarence Adams, haven't you?
I have not. I wanted to talk to both he and his wife, Margaret. Is that right? Because everybody tells me what a wonderful story they have, but I called them I've called them, I guess, on 2 occasions, and both times they've declined. They've said that they preferred not to. Because I know his wife was a nurse, right? Yeah.
Did you know she used to work for Dr. Cooper?
Is that right? Well,
in fact, I think Dr.
Jim was one of the ones that told me that I needed to talk to them, but when I called, they said they were
I was going to say he was an Iwo Jima.
Right. Yeah.
Of course, Margaret was a nurse over in Europe.
Yeah. Right.
And she was a tough old gal.
Yeah.
Of course, I guess maybe because you don't. I mean, you know this. You have to kind of hurry because most of these old World War II veterans are passing on, or they're getting where they can't remember nothing. And
right.
That's probably Margaret's problem right now. She's had trouble remembering. And
right.
Oh, they're dear friends of ours. We love them to death,
Now you're involved with the VFW here?
Oh, quite a bit.
Quite a bit?
Yes.
Yeah. That's good.
I've been on through most of the chairs except postman, and I just didn't want to take the hassle.
Right.
But I've done the best I can about helping get things passed and get things done. And,
Part of the salesman in you, huh?
I guess.
Yeah.
One thing we was talking about those the lights, security lights at the post belong to the city of Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
And we could not attach anything to them. No run no lines to them, nothing. So John Primus, he's another one you might visit. John Primus.
Tom Primus?
John Primus. He was Vietnam veteran.
Okay.
He was on a gunship helicopter.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, John Primus and I got to talking to the city about letting us have, just deeding those light posts to us, and we'd bear the liability and responsibility of maintenance and everything, so we could hook up electricity to it.
Yeah.
So John and I did.
Right.
We got it done. They released them to us. Now we've got electricity to about 4 of those poles.
Right.
So when we have these barbecue cook-offs and things, when the trailers come in and the cooking teams, they got something to plug into out there.
Right.
And we ran water to it out there, so
right.
That's one thing I was going to do. Projects out.
So you lived here ever since you came to A&M that semester in 48?
I hit Bryan in 1947. I've been here ever since.
You've seen a lot of changes, haven't you? Where'd you start? How long have you been at this house?
Oh, we've just been here since 96.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, I've been in the real estate, so I've bought and sold. I guess we've lived in about 15 different houses in the last 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
We like it, but now just getting up in age where I told my wife, I don't think I could stand another move. Doing all this stuff. And I like it here. It's a nice, quiet neighborhood.
Yeah.
Good neighbors. Nice, quiet. Got it like we want to. Not big and fancy, but.
Yeah. What about family? You and Gladys have family?
Yes, I've got two. By my first wife, I have two boys.
Mm-hmm.
They're both framing contractors.
I see.
One of them is in Fort Worth. He's a framing contractor there. And my other son is in Atlanta.
Right.
No, not Atlanta, Gainesville, Georgia. He's in the framing contracting business.
I see.
I got my youngest daughter. She works for Lowe's in Bryan.
I see.
My oldest daughter works for Heat Research. So they're all doing well.
Got grandkids?
You see how many I've got? Yes, sir, we've got about 6.
6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all girls but one.
I see.
My grandson, he's my oldest son. He's a life member of the VFW here.
Your oldest son?
Yes, he was on an aircraft carrier in Vietnam.
He was? Okay. His name's Gordon?
Gordon. Yeah.
Okay.
And grandchildren, they're scattered here and about. They're all doing well.
Right.
In fact, I'm going to have another granddaughter about November.
Yeah.
My youngest son called me and said, "Oh, Dad, going to have another girl. Man, we're outnumbered." One grandson and 5, will be 6 granddaughters.
Right.
That's a great granddaughter.
Great granddaughter, yeah.
You got a great granddaughter. That's coming or already here?
No, she's coming
November,
in November.
In November.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So, everything's been, we've been blessed, good health, fairly good health.
Yeah.
Good fortune. Haven't had too many ups and downs.
How'd you meet Gladys?
At the First National Bank.
At the bank? She was working at the bank? Oh, okay.
She came to work. I was working there at the bank. She came to work in March the 1st of '56, which I was already there. I'd been there 8 years. So I said, well, I believe that she's a sweet little girl, and I think I'm going to try to get her to marry me. And being a salesman, I guess I talked her into it. So we've been married ever since.
Yeah.
But after that, I figured the bank was a little bit too small for both of us. And besides, I like the outside and I like selling.
So y'all been married 53 years?
53 years.
Wow.
Right. So, all been good.
Must be the real thing. Yeah.
Real deal, yes, sir. Yep, Tom. So, that's about the story. Like I said, it's kind of, just kind of.
Well, no, it's a normal story, and it's one that I want to tell. You got any photographs or anything like that, or of any of you as a young Army? What do you got? Let's see what you got. I don't need much.
She'll bring it down.
Okay. So you lived here just since about '96?
Yes, sir.
This house? Yes, sir. This is my young husband and his.
Oh my goodness. Good looking fella.
Yes, sir, I thought so. And still do.
How old were you there?
About 19, I think, or 18.
So that was just straight into the service, right?
Yes, sir. I was over in Wanju, Korea.
Yeah.
I had to take pictures taken over there.
Over there in
And
Korea.
Wait, I don't know what's in here.
That's fun.
Yeah, I know there's some. Well, of course not these, but.
Anything related to the military?
Yes, I think it was his buddies.
Yeah.
And his friend. But I don't
Is that
know.
you?
No.
Oh,
No. When he was in the service, I was 10 years old.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like I said, we all got along real good.
Okay.
These are pictures from there.
From Korea?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't really know what all's in there.
Are there any pictures that he's in?
I thought there was some with you and your buddies in there.
I think there was one.
That's not you.
No, that was one of my.
That's
somebody named Chuck.
Yep.
that's one of them. I thought there were more. Oh, that's his sister. I thought there was some more than that.
Huh? Let's see. No?
Those photos from Korea. I thought there was some more than that. Maybe I have them somewhere else. Because we took a lot of them out.
We got thousands of pictures.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I bet you. So you're not in any of these?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's just some silly little family friends. Family pictures.
But, talking about somebody, everybody got to be somewhere.
Right.
Well, everybody couldn't have been on the front line because they'd have run out of bullets and they'd have got hungry.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have had no gas for no vehicles. So somebody had to be in severe support.
Right.
So,
right.
Somebody had to do that.
Right.
Most of the time that wasn't safe a job either.
Right. So you were in high school during most of World War II?
Yes.
You were in high school?
Correct. So I graduated from high school in May of 1945.
Yeah.
And of course during the summer, August, well that's when, if it hadn't been for Harry Truman, I probably wouldn't have been sitting here.
Yeah, because you would have been in the ground war in Japan.
Several 100,000.
Yeah. Right.
So, people can say what they want to about Harry Truman, about the atomic bomb and all that. But it saved hundreds of thousands of GIs.
Right.
Because those Japanese were fanatics.
Oh, yeah.
And you talk to combat veterans that talk.
Saved a lot of lives, both American, Japanese. It saved a lot of lives.
Both sides.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not something that the United States ought to be ashamed of.
Right.
I'm not ashamed of it because it shortened the war by many, many years probably.
Yeah.
Because as you talk to these other veterans, these combat veterans, talking about having to burn them out of these rat holes in these mountains and stuff.
Right. So those 3 days that you were on the ship and not knowing where you were going, what'd you think? Where'd y'all think you were going?
Let me see. When we were going overseas, of course there wasn't a whole lot to do.
Yeah.
Go on a troop ship going overseas. We were double loaded. That means one part of it was on top side, 12 hours, and then they swapped.
Yeah.
And you got 2 meals a day, and kids, growing boys get hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And so those sailors, they'd sell the sandwiches $1 a piece. And back then that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And every once in a while they'd put us on a line from the bakery to the kitchen.
Yeah.
And we'd be shelling that bread down to the kitchen every once in a while. And
but you were just 18 years old.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I turned 18 in October.
So that must have been a very uncertain type. I mean, because you've been used to just being home and being in high school and being with your buddies, and all of a sudden
jerked away from all my friends and sent over there where where we going.
Yeah.
In fact, when I'll never forget the first night at Fort Sam. This kid, he was laying there in that bunk and he started crying. I said, "I want my mama." I said, shut up and go to sleep. But, I mean, like I said, 18-year-old, a lot of them are not too mature at that age.
Right.
And you just get jerked up from about a cuff of your neck and thrown in an army with a bunch of strangers you've never seen before.
Right.
Get your butt out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning to start drilling, and that was quite a change.
Yeah.
For a lot of young men, millions.
Yeah.
And it was an experience that, like you've heard this 100 times, wouldn't take $1 million of experience. I wouldn't do it again for $10 million.
So when you came back and you went to A&M for that semester, having served, did you have the option? Did you have to be in the Corps? Or
no.
You didn't. You didn't have to be in the Corps because you had served.
See, in 1940,
you had that option.
Right, 1947, it was mandatory.
Yeah, right.
And back in 1947, there was, I think the student body total was about 6,000.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it was all Aggies, men, guys.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal, you know, for a dance or something. Of course, was that up in Denton, TW.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They'd have the dates, you know, come down from there.
Yeah.
So I forget when it was. It went co-ed, but of course it's a good thing because it jumped in rolling by many, many thousands. But back then it was an all guy. Oh, and we was when I was going to A&M, it was freshman class was out of Bryan Field.
Right.
And that was another this isolation out there, and that's the first time I ever met Mr. Lupot.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Lupo.
Mr. Lupo, yeah.
He would come out there and haul a bunch of us to town because none of us had cars. So he'd haul us to town.
So that's where you took your classes, was that at Bryan Field?
Yes, sir.
I see.
So,
well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So it wasn't on the normal, the
no,
regular
we wasn't on campus. No, we wasn't on the main campus.
Is that where you lived out there in barracks?
No,
out
I
there,
lived in town.
You lived in town?
Yeah. We took classes in those old barracks, you know.
Yeah. So I guess back then College Station didn't go any farther south than about Holloman Street, right? Was that about as far south as it went? Or?
Let me see. Did you ever have the good fortune to meet Bill Fitch?
Yeah, I did. I did a couple of times. Yeah.
He is one of the smartest.
Right, on a lot of land.
With the most vision of anybody.
Right.
In fact, he lived in a house that was moved off campus. It was on Glade Street.
Uh-huh.
And Glade Street is where, I think, where Southwest Parkway is right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he was one of my clients, you know, and I'd go out there and visit him. I always enjoyed his company because he talks, you know, he's so smart.
Right.
And had such vision.
Yeah.
And one day I went out there to collect his premium, and he said, "Hey, stay, jump in the Jeep here, I'll show you something." We were bouncing across the field out there, and he said, "You see right there? All that vacant land right there?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "That's where the new consolidated school's going to be." I gave him the land. Right there on 2818, you know.
Right.
So, he's
that's a great story. I'll get you to talk about your friendship with him because
he was a super person.
Yeah.
In fact, they ought to call him Mr. College Station.
Right.
He was the one that developed Southwood Valley, and a lot of things that he would do because now he wasn't at the beginning. He wasn't a rich man.
Right.
In fact, I met him. He and you remember Ray Bewley?
No, I never knew.
They were good friends.
Mm-hmm.
Ray Bewley is well, back then he had backhoe and trenching service. He installed septic tanks, and their office was on Mary Lake.
Mm-hmm.
And I met him one night, and we got talking about this and that and the other, and that's when I got to talking to Bill Fitch about his visions, you know, and he would use leverage to the utmost.
Uh-huh.
He'd go out to let me see, there's a bunch of Czech people that owned all that property out there.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd buy, say, like 100 acres, and he'd give them $100 earnest money.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd figure out how he'd design the subdivision, plat it out and everything.
Right.
And he'd get it all platted, go to Travis Bryan, and borrow the money. And then he'd go pay the people off for the land, you know. And then he'd develop whichever part of the town it was. But he was always thinking and always figuring that how can we do something that'll improve the community and let's make a little money in the meantime.
Sure.
That was interesting. I enjoyed it. You know, in sales work, Tom, I guess you get to meet a lot of people. A lot of good people, a lot not so good people, but people.
Yeah.
People.
Right.
So I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I guess that's the reason I stayed in for 20-something years.
Yeah.
But,
how long you been retired?
Well, I guess, I just haven't wanted to do much. Probably about 5 years, 5 or 6. Yeah. I've had rent property, have to fool with that stuff, and keep it going, and collect the rent, and put up with people that, tell you all kind of stories about that. But that's what I say, people.
Right.
Been a good ride,
Right.
I might say.
Right.
And of course, I've had a gal, but she was with the First National Bank for 52 years.
Oh, she did? She worked
She
there?
retired as a vice president, yes.
I see.
So,
Gladys did. I'll be darned.
in fact, she used to work with Jan Dozier.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether you had a chance to make that service today or not.
No, I did not. But
that was one of the biggest crowds.
Was it? Yeah, I'm sure it was. Jan was well known. I can't say that I knew Jan well. I played golf with him a few times out at Briarcrest when I was a member out there.
Yeah.
I played golf with him maybe 5 or 6 times, and of course, I knew him just because I used to do my banking over there.
Yeah.
So, Jan was very well known. I bet there was a lot of people there.
Oh yeah, Gary Mobley did the eulogy, and Austin Bryan, he gave a talk about his association with Jan and what a good person he was, what a good banker, and all these things.
Yeah.
Like I said, in life, you meet people.
Yeah.
Good people.
Right.
Bad people.
Yeah.
I've had a good time. Really have enjoyed it.
He called him the great big mountain man in a teddy bear suit.
I'll tell you one thing, he could sure hit a golf ball.
They were talking about that.
I bet they did, because I played golf with him a lot, and I never even came close to beating him. But because I played pretty well, but I was always second place to him. He was always the guy you wanted in your foursome if you were playing against somebody.
Yeah, well, they said he at Briarcrest he won a couple of championships over there.
He and his dad.
I remember one time. I remember one time I was playing in a tournament with him. It was a scramble, and of course he was the A player. I think I was the B player, and there was a big difference between the A and the B player. And we started off the first 3 holes, and he was playing off the first 3 holes. He was hitting it out of bounds, and he was just having a really bad day.
Yeah.
And on the golf course he could get emotional on the golf course if things weren't going his way. He could. When things weren't going his way on the golf course. And he almost quit. He said, I'm not going to help you all today. This is terrible. He said, I'm leaving. And he started to drive off, and we were yelling at him, Jan, things will get better. Don't leave. We need you. And he left. He went back to the clubhouse. So we played about a half a hole without him, and we thought, well, we don't have a chance now without him. And about 10 minutes later, here comes his cart. He comes back out. He cooled off, and he started playing a lot better. And I think we finished 3rd in the tournament, something like that, because he got his game on a little bit.
Okay.
So, he would. He didn't like it much when he wasn't playing good golf.
I guess not.
He had a little bit of temper.
I guess so. Yeah.
But of course, all of us do that. But
well, that's an emotional game. And,
yeah.
A lot of tension involved.
Yeah. Well, that was just so. He just suffered a heart attack and had surgery, right? And didn't come out and didn't make the surgery.
He was at work.
Was he at work Friday?
And he had this heart attack.
Yeah.
At
work?
Yes. And one of the girls that worked with him knew CPR. So she gave him CPR. They came, picked him up, took him to the hospital. And he had a quadruple bypass. All of them were stopped up. Of course, he didn't make it.
Yeah.
It's sad, a big, healthy, I thought he was healthy, would not be aware that he had that kind of a blockage.
Yeah.
I guess maybe he wasn't too friendly with cardiology.
Did he still smoke? He was a smoker, though, at one time, wasn't he?
Well,
is that right? Okay.
And he used to work out. He used to go, he used to jog up until, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that. And then he quit that. Of course, he was friends with Bill Alford. You know Bill Alford? And in fact, Bill Alford was the one that called us Saturday morning and said, hey, have you heard anything about Jan Dozier?
No.
I said, no, what? Well, he had a heart attack, and I think it's pretty bad.
Oh my goodness.
I said, no, I didn't know that. Well, I wonder why. I mean, he said, well, you know, he's kind of heavy. He wasn't, I guess he weighed.
He's a big guy, no doubt about it.
250 or something.
Yeah.
Short.
Yeah.
He said he got to where he was eating a lot of fruit and stuff here lately, and trying to get his weight down, but he didn't know about them blockages. It's sad, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's why you take advantage of every day. You never know.
That's what they said today.
Yeah. Take advantage of every day.
Enjoy it. Every day like it's be your last, because could be.
One day you'll be right.
Yes, sir. Never can tell.
That's right.
I always say, God, you never can tell when that black ball it drops in your number in that roulette wheel up in the sky.
So how old are you?
I'll be 82 in October.
I see. Okay.
So I was young, you know. I was in the tail end. So what was you in, World War II or Korea War? Well, really, I was in limbo. I was in between.
Right in between. Yeah.
And I don't like telling about I did things I didn't, because I didn't.
Well, no.
That's where I was. That's what I was. That's what I did.
Well, we're gonna let's do a show. I want to do a show with you, and I can't do it. Yeah, I can't do it. I'm going on vacation tomorrow, but I'd like to do it next Thursday, a week from tomorrow. Okay.
I'll do my best. We're going out of town ourselves Sunday.
Okay. When will you be back?
Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah,
2:30 next Thursday, a week from tomorrow, over at KAMU. You know where KAMU is on campus, on the A&M campus?
Oh no.
Yeah, no, not KBTX. Don't go there.
Ooh.
We're going to KAMU. That's where my TV show is. That 30-minute show that we.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. No. That the thing that you saw the thing that I did with Sonny Franzi, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now that's something new that I'm doing on KBTX. That's just a little 5-minute thing. But what we're going to do is my show that's on KAMU, which is a 30-minute show, which I've been doing for 4 years. Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll shoot the bull for that. You know where KAMU is on campus?
Now I'll tell you what.
I'll draw you a quick map.
When I first came to Bryan, Tom, I'll tell you where it was. It was in the administration building.
Oh, is that right?
The big one, you know,
Yeah.
right there at the main gate.
Well, where it is now is it's been there a long time. Here's
It's on campus. How's
Yeah.
the parking over there?
I'll show you right where to park. Bush, and this is Houston Street, and this is that's Welborn. So here's here's Kyle Field right here. So I'll show you. Okay, here's
Bush Drive.
Yeah, there's Texas. Okay, there's George Bush Drive. There's A&M right here. There's Texas. There's George Bush Drive. Here's Welborn. There's Kyle Field right there. The very first street that goes into campus, right here, right. If you go up Welborn and turn left, say, the very first street you get to, that's called Houston Street. Right here is the former students building.
Yeah.
You know?
Clayton Williams.
The Clayton Williams building is right there. Okay. Well, this street is called Houston Street. A lot of people don't know that's called Houston Street, but that's what it is. That's Houston Street.
Okay.
And you just turn in there, and your very first building on the left, right there, little one-story building, is KAMU.
Okay.
It's right there. It's right. You turn right. There's Clayton Williams building. You turn right there. It's right, pretty much across the street from the Clayton Williams building. And it's a one-story old building right there. That's KAMU. And what you'll do is you'll drive just past it, and you'll drive right into the parking lot, right past the building. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And right here on the street, there's about three or four parking places that all have a sign on them that say authorized parking only or authorized vehicle only.
Okay.
Well, you are allowed to park in one of those because those are for guests of KAMU. That's what those are for. So you just drive right into the parking lot and do a quick U-turn to the right and park right there facing the street on one of those.
Okay.
And walk down the sidewalk right into the front door. Okay?
2:30.
That's when we start taping. So be there about 2:15 if you can.
2 o'clock.
Yeah. No, don't be there at 2 o'clock. I'll be there at 2:15.
Okay.
And that'll be on
Thursday
the 20. What's today? 17, 18, the 25th?
Something like that, I guess.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, Thursday the 25th. Yeah. About 2:15. And I'm going to give you, in case there's any problems, 5, 8, 9. That's my cell phone.
Okay.
If you have any problems or anything like that.
Good.
But that's where it is. And that's where we'll do it.
Okay.
I'm going to borrow this if I can and scan it, and I'll give it back to you.
It's old. It's kind of faded.
No, that's a great picture. That's a good-looking soldier right there. That's a good-looking soldier. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what rank were you when you were discharged?
Buck sergeant.
Buck sergeant.
Buck sergeant. Yeah. You know, like I say, I feel like.
Were you a troublemaker?
Well.
Well, no.
Hey, I didn't answer the question.
Yeah.
I'd get in trouble every once in a while, just different things.
Yeah, well, you're bored.
Never got court martial. Yeah, you know, young boys.
Yeah.
You know, get in and drink and do some stupid things.
Well, no, we'll talk about not only your service, but we'll talk about your time at Bryan and what you did here and the people you met and all of that. So there's a lot of story to tell there.